Welcome to Instant Discussions. Today we are discussing American Psycho. Tony, very excited to pick this film last night.
American Psycho.
I had that stuck in my head all week. Singing American Psycho to that.
I still just had that South Park song.
Ever since you watched it.
This film...
Okay.
This film from 2000. So it interesting to me. I'm going to start off with the first thing that I was noticing on rewatching this one, because it's set in the 80s. A lot of it does feel like a film from the 80s.
Yep.
It
sure does.
Yeah. It's odd whenever I see that it was from 2000, and I know it has to be a more recent film because of the actors that are in it. Mm-hmm. But it
kind of like a Christmas
really
Story.
Feel like that.
That's how the Christmas Story was for me.
Like Christmas Story, that one feels like it's a much older film. They do a good job with not only setting the atmosphere for it, but just making the entire film in that way.
Yeah.
So I think that was one of the first things that caught it for me. When did you first see this movie?
I don't know. When I started getting into fucked up movies.
Yeah.
It had to be. I don't know what year.
Well, it came out in 2000. Theatrical release would be April 14th, 2000. No, it said it debuted at the Sundance Film Festival, which is weird because another part says it released in Sundance in January. So Wikipedia is unreliable in that way. Interesting. Let's see. It released in the Sundance Film Festival in 2000, where it was touted as the next Fight Club.
Whoa, I don't know about that.
MPAA gave it an NC-17, and then producers took out 18 seconds of footage to get it an R rating. That's all I talked about with the release.
That had to be when they took out the utensils after we had the two whores.
Maybe. Yeah, it said it was in part of the threesome scene.
I hope so.
Part of one of the threesome scenes.
Probably then.
Yeah,
That
I
makes
think
sense.
I first got into this movie around the time of watching things like Clockwork Orange, and just it was that kind of psychology of the films, and also the based off of books, and I think my sister was reading the books at the time as well. She was reading this and Clockwork Orange, and I didn't have time for books, so I was watching the movies of them. Also she was very fascinated with the psychology of serial killers as well. With that, it was great watching the film, and I think my first introduction to Christian Bale.
Besides
when
Newsies,
you watched
of
it for
course.
the first time?
Well, I think I'd watched Newsies later than this.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't watch Newsies as a kid. So it was interesting. So this is your first time watching this movie.
Yeah.
So what was your first impression?
Jeez. It felt like an old film. I didn't even look up that it was in 2000, actually. I had zero idea that it was in 2000 until you said something earlier, in which I kind of was surprised.
And I have different landmarks for movies throughout time to notice like what type of other things going on at the time in films. Like when I think of a film from the 70s, I always go to 1977 for Star Wars. But when I go to 2000, I think of 1999 for The Matrix.
Yeah.
That's like my grounded film to say this is what was possible at that time.
So this was actually after that.
This is a year after The Matrix, is what you're thinking of. So the style of filmmaking in this is not that kind at all. It is very much closer to films of the 80s.
And you know, I remember the first time I watched this, I was actually confused at first. Because a lot of the beginning is stuff that could be what's going on now. Just the facial masks and the people really into health and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And then later on, you see like the big cell phone, you're like, wait a second.
These are things that have been going on all the time. It's also interesting to me in any, because of the time I grew up in, anytime I hear a reference to terrorism from a film before 2001, it's that thing of like, what? There was still a thing back then? But it's all, it's always been in there. That term's been in there. It's just growing up with it, hearing it so much that you think of it associated with that one thing, and this is from
2001: A Space Odyssey really nailed down that terrorism thing.
Yep.
Fucking Irish.
Can't believe them. And 2001, a film from much older, which seems like a more modern film than American Psycho almost in some ways.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yes, it did feel like a older film from that.
I can't even begin to talk about this film.
All right, we'll talk next week about American Psycho.
First, I mean, like, do you mean like for the beginning of the film, or do you mean like his film as a whole?
I mean, from the beginning of the film. From the beginning of the film, we'll get into all the details and the ins and outs of your fresh eyes throughout it.
It's hard to like differentiate like what was the beginning and like.
I mean, there's a few different things happening in the beginning of it. I mean, just the early impressions, at least. It starts out with the red liquid going down in the knife, and then you see that it's the food and going in and playing in that sort of way, as happens a lot in these kind of films. I would like to play with.
It's just him, like, describing his life.
Describing his life, but knowing, I mean, the things you know about going into the movie, with if you ignore anything else, is the title is American Psycho.
Just Batman saying he's rich.
Yeah.
I mean, Bateman, sorry.
Yeah, Bateman, not Batman. You crazy.
This is foreshadowing, huh?
Yeah.
So so you know it's American Psycho. You see at the beginning you've got a knife and what looks like blood in the beginning. So you're thinking Psycho, alluding to, Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho.
Right.
That kind of, these thoughts are in there without even seeing a trailer or knowing the description of the movie. So you're thinking that, and then goes into him being that businessman guy. So you know that something in there is, there's something down there underlying.
Something's weird is going on.
Yeah. So let's.
I don't know. The beginning was all kind of like.
Yeah. Let's continue on then of.
There's a lot of
things that you really liked in the movie. Like, what was your favorite part of the movie?
I mean, of course, I like the threesome scene.
Mm-hmm.
It just shows everything about that is just he is the epitome of a narcissist.
Always looking at himself.
Yeah.
Completely
making those muscles. Yeah. It's videotaping, which was weird because you see the videotape and it's like an old one. And you're like, they make them the size of this now. You can put them in clocks so they don't even know you're doing it.
Well, you see, it's the 2000s masquerading as the 80s.
Yeah, no, I know.
So therefore, he was a very wealthy man to be able to afford a camera so small.
Yeah.
I liked that scene because he was all like, why don't you take off your clothes? So, with Phil Collins, his real genius lies in the... dance around a little bit. His real genius lies in the fact, the Sun song, blah, 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 yeah.
But, going back to that scene, but... They obviously don't give a shit, and all they want to do is fuck and leave. And he doesn't care at all. Like, he doesn't care about anyone. He's like, no, we're going to do it this way.
Yeah. I think I'm going to tie in... I've got two favorite things about the movie, or one favorite moment and one favorite thing. Mm-hmm. My favorite thing about it is the way that it portrays his sociopathic behaviors. Mm-hmm. And not just the craziest parts of it, but... when he is listening to music, constantly listening to music, but the expression on his face is just very deadpan as listening to it, not reacting emotionally to the music. But when he talks about the music to people, he's a wealth of knowledge and gets very excited about it and seems passionate about it. But when he's in the taxi and he's listening to the music and Legally Blonde is next to him and she's saying, you're trying to talk to him and he says, I'm listening. Listen to my music. I've got to listen to this. And it's just like this, pop music stuff. It really seems like the only reason he's listening to music like that is so that he can fit in society, because he's checking off these boxes, as he says in the beginning. He's doing these things so he can fit in society because he knows his mind is messed up.
Yeah.
And he's got these psychotic behaviors, but to be able to be a part of a functioning member of society and be successful, he's got to like this stuff. So he's really overselling it when he's talking about the music and saying how great it is.
He's researched it and he's spitting out.
It's
all
a
the
report.
Research.
He's giving a
report.
report.
No, that's one of the things I really liked too. It wasn't just with the music; it was everything.
Yeah,
he was so phony, but he fit in that job perfectly as being such a phony ass fucker. Like.
Yes. And then my favorite moment in the film was when the ATM told him to feed it a stray cat.
Yeah.
I love that part of it. And mostly, it's just a funny part that it's crazy, but it also is one that really solidifies the fact that you have an unreliable narrator in the film, because we're being told this entire story through Patrick Bateman, who is insane. He has mental issues. So because he's our narrator and he's telling us the story, we're not hearing the full story from him. So when we're seeing him, when it starts off when he's in the bar and he's talking to the barista and says, or it says like it threatens her. Says,
when she turns it back,
yeah, when she turns it back and he doesn't hear, and so you can easily see, that's because it's a loud bar. You didn't hear.
Yeah.
But you start to wonder which of these things are actually happening and what's in his head. Mm-hmm. And when you get to the ATM telling him that, it's obviously not telling him that. It wasn't on there, so at least there's some falsities in there.
New York's a little crazy.
New York is crazy. I'd love to see an ATM.
You know what? Right when I saw that, didn't you wonder, is he gonna smush in the cat?
Yeah, how is he gonna do it? Yeah. How is he gonna do that?
And then the lady fucks it up.
Yeah, she stops him.
She stops it.
We never get to find out how that was gonna happen. It also made me remember how terrible ATMs were. Before they were all the nice modern ones.
Oh yeah.
And all the ATMs I go to now are the nice fancy touchscreen ones, with those old ones with the.
I remember my parents would be worried that the ATM would run out of money.
Yeah.
Oh really?
They're just.
And you'd have to go check multiple ATMs because they only had a limited amount of money.
But even just funny. How the old computer display of them.
Yeah.
So
and then it was hard for the buttons. You're like, wait.
Yeah.
Here we go
across to there. Yeah. Interesting as he watches that stuff, but yeah, the way you don't know what parts of the thing actually happened and what didn't. So we're pretty sure by the end, unless the lawyer is really covering for him there, that he didn't kill Paul Allen.
Yeah, that's the part what I'm wondering.
So we're pretty sure he didn't kill Paul Allen, but you don't know. I mean, so he probably didn't.
I don't think he killed any of them.
I don't think he killed any of them, but did he use the coat hanger on them to cut them up and beat them? Was that real? Is that prostitute even real?
Yeah.
Oh, that's what you're asking.
Yeah, because the first time the prostitute's there, he doesn't kill her, but he's just.
I'd like to think that he did.
Scars her. It seems like he did. It really seems like he did, and the way that they have that dialogue with it, if he didn't, then she has to be in his imagination.
Yeah.
If he didn't actually do it. But because he's got those crazy thoughts, he could have actually done it. But he doesn't even know if he actually did it. He thinks he did it.
Well, the way she died, the second prostitute.
Yeah.
The second one, dropping a chainsaw on her.
Well, that was the first one that came over too that he had.
It's pretty implausible.
So, but she was in that first scene too.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah, and
I like when he goes to help the black guy.
Yeah.
He's all excited.
The homeless guy?
He's so nice.
Thank you. Oh my God, you're so nice.
He just kills him there.
Yeah.
He's like, you piece of shit.
Yeah.
I was like, ugh.
And the scene with his secretary.
Oh yeah.
Almost gonna kill her with the.
He's like, I would just hurt you. She's like, I understand. You're like, no, you don't.
You don't know. You don't
shit.
And his drawings are terrible.
Oh yeah.
He's not a good artist at all.
No.
It's the worst drawings ever. What was the best thing for you in this movie? Was there anything you liked in this movie?
Well, I like the thing I mentioned about the threesome.
I thought he mentioned the thing about the threesome.
Oh, and then I followed up on it.
Okay.
Another awesome scene was the bathroom scene.
Which bathroom scene? The one where they're doing coke?
When he goes to choke the dude.
Oh, okay.
It's like, oh, I've wanted you for so long.
Everyone just misunderstands him so much.
And I was like,
Don't you realize he's trying to kill everyone?
That was funny.
I was thinking of the cocaine scene.
Oh, he's like, shut up!
Yeah. I'm trying to do drugs here.
Good thing that was only in his imagination.
See, I don't want to believe that.
I don't want to know what's in his imagination.
I really liked that I was a little unsure at the end.
Yeah. I think that's one of the great things about it is
and not knowing what was real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a common theme in movies that I really like is is having a question at the end, not having a definitive answer.
Makes me want to read the book just to see if I can get more.
Yeah.
But then you got to read.
Yeah.
And his fakeness about him was really fun.
Mm-hmm. I like when they get the card.
To be square.
It totally played up with the horrible 80s-ness of it all because everyone was so fake and over the top, and that added to the 80s-ness of the whole movie. But they were very very fake.
The business card thing is fun.
Remember the
business card scene.
Because he grabs the card and you can see the beads of sweat starting to appear, and it's like, why are you so freaked out about this? It was a nice card though.
Eggshell white.
Oh, I can't believe you. Can't believe you'd have that.
That son of a bitch with that off-white card and the golden way. Dare he?
Yeah.
Oh, the breakup scene was awesome too.
Yeah.
Oh, that was such a good breakup scene.
That was a good one.
She's like, "Shut up, we're meant to be together." And he's like, "No, you don't understand."
Yeah. So what didn't you like about the movie?
For this movie, there was nothing I didn't like.
Whoa.
There was nothing that I was like, they should have changed this. I like violent slasher movies, and this one was really good.
All right. Well, I'm gonna say. I mean, I understand what they're doing with the '80s thing, and especially because of you're basing it off a book. I would have liked to seen it either if you're only doing making it look like an '80s movie and being over the top in that way because of that setting, then I'd like to see it done in a modern setting, so that you don't have that. But I would have liked to have seen this movie played more straight. I don't know. Some of it you get some charm with that, and it becomes its own thing. So maybe it would have lost that if it didn't have that kind of insanity to it. But I don't know. I guess it does where I did not remember from the last time I had watched this movie to this time now. I did not remember how silly the hip to be square scene was. The other stuff. It's so over the top and just not as seemingly not well acted, but very much acted out. That's clearly what they wanted to do because we know Christian Bale can do a good range. He doesn't. That's not how he is normally. So. Clearly they wanted that, but I don't know. That was the only thing that kind of bugged me in it that I can think of. Yeah. How about you?
I wanted more. I just wanted it to be more intense.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to. I don't know how to describe it.
It was pretty subtle for a lot of the craziness that was in it.
Yeah, I wanted it to be more intense. Although I can, and then also like I think the music choice, like while it made sense for his character, I think didn't lend to the movie because like songs like "Hip to Be Square" can't be like taken as a dramatic song or like as a sad song or whatever. And there's that saying of like a good composition for like a movie, the main theme can be sad, can be happy, can be dramatic, can fit any of these things.
I think that the music in those scenes, especially and specifically with the Hip to Be Square one, like the music, picking the pop music as him, it's a sign of him fitting in.
Yeah, that's why I liked it.
It's antithetical to what's going on in the situations.
Mm-hmm.
By him being so violent and having this happy pop song, it's similar to in Kick-Ass having the upbeat music when Hit Girl's kicking everyone. So that kind of works to play to the beat of it. But this is supposed to be showing like the horribleness of what's going on in this happy music. Hip to Be Square specifically, and the speech that he gives about it, where people don't actually listen to the lyrics, and it very much fits into him fitting in and pretending to be in this business type environment and not being the crazy rebel guy, but just to be square as him fitting in there. So it worked to that. It wasn't as much a kind of soundtrack song that would score song.
That's what I feel was really missing. I felt like if it had, I mean, all these songs are fine and dandy, like they would have been great, but I wanted that main theme.
Yeah, and maybe that would fit in the type of movie that I'm seeing in it, and it's taking the same ideas of it, but being a more dramatic, serious film. I think that this one it plays up to the comedy of it. Then, yeah. So I say, while I would like to see it done that way, it would be a different film, and maybe it wouldn't come across as well. Maybe they'd play it too dramatic, and it just wouldn't have this special quality that this one has in the kind of silliness of it, and that the music kind of adds to it. Yeah. And it also leads up to the scene where Willem Dafoe asks him about the CD. I'll listen to that.
Yeah.
Which seems more of his honest answer in that one, in my thinking of him not actually liking the music. So let's see. We'll keep going in more in depth in this one. I guess. Just keep talking about it as though before we get to our quick summary at the end.
The budget.
The budget of the movie, $7 million, which, I don't know, 2000 monies. That's still low.
That's pretty low for 2000.
For modern day,
especially
it's
they have
low budget.
the people they have too.
Yeah.
Well, Christian Bale, William Dafoe, Jared Leto.
Yeah.
And that's when he straight out of Fight Club.
Yeah, but I mean, somewhat it's still only worse for that. They're big people, but I think they're not as big as they would be to get them now. Now having Academy Award winner Christian Bale, Academy Award winner Jared Leto. I mean, you're gonna Legally Blonde's Reese Witherspoon. That would be a much bigger people to get nowadays. But I mean, you don't get that quality of actors when they went on to make the sequel of this one. But it made $34 million, so it made some good money.
It's still got a bunch of money.
Did you know? Are you familiar with the sequel?
Oh God, there's no way I'll ever watch the sequel.
I'm never gonna watch it. But did you know about it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It got horrible ratings.
The direct-to-video sequel.
Direct-to-video right there.
Directed by Morgan Freeman. Directed by Morgan J. Freeman. Not the good one. And starring Mila Kunis.
With the 11% rating on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yes, I can't believe it actually got 11%. And of course they show Patrick Bateman in flashback, but not played by Christian Bale.
See, like a television series, they may be able to do.
Yeah, and it says it was announced for FX, who just did the Fargo series.
Oh, that's right.
I don't know if you watched, but
I haven't watched any.
So good.
Yeah,
it was amazing. I recommend it. Hope it shows up on the other stuff. This whole Netflixy thing. This movie has a 67% on Rotten Tomatoes.
That's it.
So that's
it's fresh.
Yeah, that's fresh. It's a lot better than 11%. You know,
it should be at 100%. Toy Story.
I don't know there.
So you're giving this movie a 1, right?
So I can't remember how we did this last time with the star ratings. But I guess we'll do the star ratings now and then go to the summary. I can't remember how we do things. All right, we'll go to
crazy here.
We'll go to
Instant discussion.
Star ratings for this. So
it's
holding it in there.
I don't think this is difficult to guess what he's going to do anyway.
I gave it a 5.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing I don't like about this. I can watch this multiple times, and I'd like to see a movie very, very similar to this.
You're looking up the
director.
The director here, who's a lady.
What?
A Canadian lady.
Mm-hmm. Oh, which is why you saw so
never
many
mind.
shots
It's a 1 now.
So many shots of his butt in there.
There was a lot of butt shots.
There were a lot of butt shots in there. She made I Shot with Andy Warhol, then American Psycho, then The Notorious Betty Page, and The Moth Diaries.
So what did you give it, John?
I had this one originally rated at 4 stars, and I'm going to keep it there. It still gets... It's the special thing that still gets it, and it's
its own thing.
Yeah, it's its own thing in this movie, and it's a kind of it's this landmark kind of movie, and it's a pillar of this type of psychology in a movie, and looking through that kind of narrator.
Tip to be square.
I still keep it at the 4, but it doesn't get a 5 for me because missing that.
I normally love and absolutely love. Like, you know what I mean? Like Fight Club, those kind of films where the psychological thriller kind of bullshit kind of happens.
Yeah.
This one just didn't... It didn't wrap me around its finger.
Didn't grab you.
Like I wanted it to.
Yeah.
When I'm watching a psychological thriller...
You want it to slip a little something into your drink.
Yeah.
Get out the tape.
Yeah. That's what I want it to do to me. And it didn't do that to me.
I can see that.
It did... Yeah, it wasn't... It was more of a kind of like a character study almost, more than a psychological thriller.
Yes.
So it was just more looking into that kind of character.
And so that in mind is why I give it a 3.
That's usually what I give a good character study movie. Like that's not exceptional or anyway. So I completely see that in that way. It may have ended up with a 3 for me if I had seen it for the first time now. But because of when I saw it. 4, but I can't know. If I would have first seen it. But did not remember it being cheesy in that way. It's kind of good. So let's run down our quick summary of this for the condensed deep episode. So
my first impressions, the beginning of the film was very meh. just learning about him and all that.
I like the first parts of the film in the way that it was, 1980s RoboCop kind of business life, and you know that there's something wrong with him because of the title of the movie, because it's setting up with a psycho, but you're not really seeing it yet in there. So it kind of had me intrigued what's going on there. But it was kind of 80s cheesy in there. Your first thoughts on the movie?
I just love that I just love the fucked upness of it. I really like that part. I really wanted to see the cat get pushed in the ATM, but unfortunately it didn't happen.
Yeah, well, that's a good segue into my favorite part of the movie, which was when the ATM asked to stuff the cat in there. Because it was just so crazy, and I wanted to see it happen, but I didn't. I didn't want to see it happen. I would have loved to see like the ATM.
You wanted it to happen.
You want to know that he's gonna.
You wanted it to be like Fargo with, with the wood chipper. So
yeah, you don't see it.
You just see the tail of the cat going in.
Yeah, just the last bit of it. And your favorite thing in the movie?
My favorite was, of course, the threesome and just his character. I thought they did his character really well.
Yeah, it was interesting. Yeah, your favorite thing in the movie?
My favorite part was, specifically in the threesome part, was, him going, I was like, talking about Phil Collins or like whatever, like going on those rants, but then going, oh, take off your clothes.
Yeah, still giving them instructions and going right back
just
to
going
his,
right back. Yeah. With spending so little time on the actual sex part.
Yeah.
And then I like that I'm unsure about what's real.
Yeah, I really like that in there. My least favorite thing would be the cheesiness that's in it, of the 80s cheesiness that's there, kind of over the topness of it. But also I'm a little forgiving on that because it's setting the tone for it.
Yeah.
And you didn't not like anything.
Well, I mean, the only thing would be the cat part.
Oh, that it didn't happen.
That it didn't happen.
Yeah, it didn't happen because that stupid.
What about those 18 seconds?
Those 18 seconds that we never got.
That's
to
what I'm thinking.
That
18
was the cat.
second. It was 18 seconds of cat tail going in.
There. Like, oh no, that's NC-17. We can't show that. Everything else is fine. And
mine is I wanted it to grab me. I wanted it to fuck my ear.
You want that Fight Club moment?
Yeah. Well, not even necessarily that. Like, there's a lot more. Like, I even enjoyed Fight Club a lot more than this, even before that happened in Fight Club.
Yeah.
So, there's in a lot of ways it didn't grab my interest.
And then rating it a 5, a 4, and a 3.
So
next week. Wait, it's my turn to pick. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Doing that? Okay. Next week, we'll talk about a little movie called World's Greatest Dad.
Oh. I haven't seen that before.
It's for Father's Day.
Oh, there you go.
Next year, I guess, Father's Day.
I have been interested in seeing it. It's been kind of on my list to watch because I like Robin Williams. So.
Oh, actually, I don't. Well, I'll get into that.
Well, no, okay. I'll say, yeah, it is kind of up.
Yeah,
but,
I
understand.
You would see whatever next Robin Williams movie came out. Yeah, exactly. Thanks for watching.
That's what it is.
Exactly. Be sure to comment, rate, and review. Let us know what you think about these movies, and join us next week and subscribe. Bye.
American Psycho.